question is what is God doing? When we think about the world today, it's a crazy place. Your spiritual life, your own life, your family life. All right, and welcome to today's Friday, Daily 320. It's going to be a fun Friday. Number one, I'm going to work more on my self-triangle that I've been working on and trying to put it in some simple terms that hopefully young adults will not think I'm just an old man over. So thank you, Brad and Katie, for pointing that out for me, and I'm going to work on that and include some Legos. Today I want to do one of the other things I'm working on that I don't know who's going to use, but working on it for some friends, together to go. And the concept is, what do you do when you're together to go, and with certain things in mind? And so I've been thinking through that concept today, and I thought about weird things in my life. Like, I'm going to name a few of them. I'm sitting in a corner, obviously surrounded by pictures today of all my family. That's one of the things that's really important to me is pictures, because pictures tell the story of the lineage of the family. So it doesn't matter how cool technology is. It doesn't matter how cool things are that you just keep on your phone. Printing pictures make a difference so that you can tell the lineage of your family. You have Caitlin over here having fun. You have Caleb and Kaylee at their wedding. You have Christopher and Brittany at their wedding. Their wedding was destination weddings. It's a weird thing. Why did I want to do destination weddings? Because one of my weird things is experiences. I want people to have experiences, because you remember experiences, not long sermons from people that are boring and just want to hear themselves talk. And so if I do a wedding, which I don't do many anymore, unless they're for close friends, I always keep the message short, because nobody wants to hear from me. They want to go eat the cake. And so it's all about the experience. So we did destination weddings as experiences so that people would remember that moment in their life. Now, with that being said, I'll also tell you, it was more cost effective. So if you want to email us about that, if your kids are getting a little bit older, we'll tell you how to do a cost effective wedding that's a destination wedding that lasts 3 or 4 days versus now an hour and you're done. One of the things that's important to me is Legos, architectural Legos. I will pick Legos that tell stories about where we've been and what we've done. We have an architectural set of the Sydney Opera House, because Rob and I went there several years ago, and we read the story about how it was built, which is a whole nother 320. And through that process, we learned so much about that thing. And so I wanted that architectural Lego to speak to the fact that that's where we had been. We have a Ferris wheel. Those are things we do, not a real Ferris wheel, but a Lego Ferris wheel, because those are things we do to remember. A weird thing about me is I like art, and art that tells a story. I don't want a piece of art that's just because it's pretty. I want a piece of art that's going to tell a story about who we are, what we do, where we've been, what our experiences are together to go. And so as we pick art, or as we create art, that is one of the things that we do, that we look for in that process. Yesterday we were up in our hometown, Edmond, and my hometown's Wichita Falls, still like to say that, and our hometown together, Edmond, and we were out at the beautiful Lake Arcadia, and I turned in and drove through, and she looked at me like I was crazy, because then I wouldn't pay the fee to go through, because I thought we're on coronavirus, why not drive through for free? And so I drove by, and when I was a teenager, 16, 17, and 18, there's a rock out at Lake Arcadia that I would take my boombox and just go sit down at that boombox, at that rock with my boombox, and listen to worship music to get my mind right. That is an important thing to me, is to be able to get away somewhere and see what God has done, and to look at it and to remind me of the things of who God really is and who I am in Him. And if I'm not in a good place, I learned this from a great pastor one time that said sometimes the best thing you can do is take a nap, because you can't beat it in your mind until you just start afresh and let it go. And so I like those experiences and what we see and what we do. I love to give gifts to people that are unusual gifts. I gave a gift, an architectural Lego set to a guy, and went through every piece of the Lego set about what each piece meant about him and how it represented him. And so I love to give weird gifts. I love to go on drives just to the experience and see what's out there and what people are thinking and what they're doing. I love to, when I work on messages, I know everybody uses their iPads. A lot of people use their iPads now. I'm all for that. I still don't do it. And here's the reason why. If I'm going to write a message, I want my kids to be able to see the lineage of that message someday when I'm gone. So how I write my messages is I'll still take some notes in a Bible. And the second thing I'll do is I will sketch out my message in picture format, very stick figures, in picture format in a sketchbook. And then I'll teach out of a sketchbook so that someday when I might pass, or my great-great-grandkids, like we talked about the Mitchell Bible the other day, they can look at those sketchbooks and they can see the things that we have and that we do together. So I want us to talk about today, and I want you to talk about today as a couple, as a family, as an individual, what are going to be your weird things? And they're not weird because you're weird or I'm weird. They're just great things that separate you and make you unique so that you can step out and do things that will create a legacy for everybody else to see. So again, for me, there's a lot of things that I do. And for you, I want you to adopt your own things, to think about those things, to let those kind of twist around in your head. I love coming up with concepts for other people's businesses and sending them to them for free. And they might use those concepts and they might not, but it's one of the things I like to do is to create concepts for people that might help their businesses go. And so what are the things that you like to do to help others, to get yourself going, to get your family going, to create a uniqueness for you and your family? We're going into the weekend. Have a phenomenal E320 weekend. Trust God to do big things. Remember, together to go. What are you going to do together this weekend that makes it fun? It makes it to honor God, build healthy relationships, and have a blast. And I can't wait to see you next week. God bless.